What's up everybody, I'm quickly interrupting ahead of this video. Welcome to the channel of course, but quickly wanted to shout out the Signal group we have, which is a group in which I share all of my trades. For example, also this maker trade that we took over the course of this week. But we also, for example, bought Bitcoin at 101,000, which hopefully it's still trading higher at this point of time, but it went to 107,000. But I also released a new trading guide in which I fully explain one of the main strategies that I use to trade. So not only will you get profitable signals, you're also able to learn how to become a profitable trader yourself. So if you want to join, that sounds interesting, links will be down in the description. For now, enjoy the video. Bye. Good morning everybody, welcome back to Cilinix Crypto and welcome to a new week. Alright, a new week full of updates, including today, the update on Bitcoin. We're going to do a full update, we'll talk about the price action of this morning, and just in general what to expect over the course of today. A brief reminder for this week, Thursday the markets are closed. And Wednesday we have the FOMC meeting, all right? So in terms of planned events, those are the two main events that you need to take into account. If you can hear the construction on the background, I'm sorry. And then obviously right now the fundamentals are still quite hot, or at least the tension in the world is still quite high. Although I must say, getting into the analysis here, which, you know, I'll try to give you a good idea of what to expect over the course of today. If we take a look at that, what you'll see is that the pre-market equities have actually opened very, very bullish. Right, so you can see that the S&P 500 already was still on the 4-hour time frame in an uptrend, even after all the unrest that we had in the world last week. But then it was a little bit of a scare of how the market would open. And you can see right now that the pre-market, at least, is trading relatively well, and it's actually making new highs, which might seem strange. And that's also, you know, we'll have to see some confirmation over the course of today, right? Because what we can see, for example, like this is the S&P 500 pre-market. Most of the volume and most of the direction is set during the New York session, right? So that is something we'll see over the course of the afternoon today. And then if we take a look at Bitcoin specifically, which has also moved up in correlation and together with that S&P 500 pre-market, what you'll see there is that the volume is also quite low, right? I mean, the volume, yes. I mean, if you take a look at the total volume, and if you compare the volume today or this morning over the with the volume that we had over the course of the weekend, it's not low, right? The volume for Bitcoin is right now $40 billion in the last 24 hours. Like last year, that would have been amazing at this point of time. But given the price action and given the volume over the course of the last, let's say, half year, it's not that high. And I don't think it's enough, which potentially is even more crucial. I don't think it's enough to break out, right? Because the way I see Bitcoin in this point of time is that we have this wider range between 108,000 and 102,500, and then we have a tighter range in the middle, right? So that tighter range has been broken. We broke above that with decent enough volume to assume that that is a real breakout. But then the thing is that we are getting towards that major resistance level at 107, 108. Where we also still have a naked POC, but that's also where the value area high is. That's where the 7-day and the 30-day rolling VWAP is. And then the volume might be good enough to break out above this tight range right here in the middle. But in my opinion, it's not in any shape or form enough to break out of that bigger range. And then outside of that, I would argue that then the fundamentals come into play, right? And fundamentally, we are still quite uncertain. The volatility index and gold are trading a little bit lower and opened lower over the course of the start of this week, but they're still much higher than what they were last week, right? And then outside of that, like I said, we still have that uncertainty of how the New York session or how the US is going to react to all the developments we'll see, mainly in the conflict between Israel and Iran. So yeah, because of the volume and because of that fundamental uncertainty, like, can we break out? Yes. I mean, if we have de-escalation, we can easily break out and rally back into 110,000 is a possibility. But for now, I would say it's more likely that we will reject from this resistance level right here between 108, 107, and that we will drop back down into this tight range right here between 103.5 and 106,000. And then stability is what I do expect, even though the fundamental situation is unstable. For me, that is a reason why a breakout is hard. It is not a reason, given the price action and given the strength we've seen from Bitcoin over the course of the weekend, it's not a reason to suspect a move down. Although it's a possibility, I don't see that as most likely at this moment. So those are my thoughts. I think that's what you need to know. So if you do have any questions, let me know down in the comments. For now, thank you for watching. Take care and bye.